Okay, so imagine this. You're all settled in, ready for a good audiobook. The narrator's voice is just perfect, smooth, and rich,
Hmm.
but then it hits you. That voice. It's not a human. It's AI.
Wow. Yeah, it's really amazing how like ElevenLabs is making it hard to tell the difference between a real person and a machine.
It really is. And that's actually why we're doing this deep dive today. It's all about 11
Oh
Labs.
yeah, ElevenLabs is a big name in AI voices right now. They're known for making some of the most realistic voices out there.
Exactly. But we're not just going to sing their praises. We're also going to look at some of the issues users are experiencing, the stuff that's been buzzing online.
Yeah, we want to give you the whole picture, the good and the bad, so you can decide if ElevenLabs is for you or if maybe a free alternative might be better.
Right. Because even with amazing tech like this, there can be some bumps in the road.
Totally. We're going to talk about those challenges and how ElevenLabs is trying to fix them. And then we're also going to look at some really cool advancements they've made in conversational AI. It's going to be a fascinating deep dive.
I think so too. Welcome to Zana AI Talk.
Thanks for having me.
So let's jump right into it. One of the biggest complaints we've seen online is about API errors, specifically with something called invalid API keys.
Ooh, yeah, I've seen those complaints too. It can be so frustrating. You're all excited to use ElevenLabs, you followed all the steps, and then bam, you get an error message saying your key's invalid.
It's like getting all dressed up for a party only to find out your invitation isn't valid anymore.
Haha, exactly. Now, I think before we go any further, we should probably explain what an API is for those who don't know.
You're right, it's kind of a techie term. So an API, it's basically like a messenger between different software programs. It allows them to talk to each other and share information.
Yeah, think of it like a waiter in a restaurant. You give the waiter your order, he takes it to the kitchen and then brings you your food. The waiter's the API, making sure everything runs smoothly between you and the kitchen.
So in this case, the API is the messenger between the user and 11 Labs. But it seems like sometimes that message gets lost or mixed up,
Yeah.
and that's what causes those errors.
Right. And those errors can be a real pain, especially for people who are using ElevenLabs for something where speed is super important, like live chat bots or interactive games.
Yeah, any kind of delay can really mess things up. It'd be like trying to have a conversation with someone who takes forever to respond. It would be super frustrating.
Totally. So the question is, what's causing these API problems? Is it just growing pains or is it something more?
Well, it's probably a combination of things.
Okay.
11 Labs is a relatively new company, and they're growing really fast, so sometimes things break or don't work quite right.
Yeah. It's like
Right.
building a super fast race car. You need
Mhm.
to make sure all the parts are perfectly tuned and working together.
And even with a ton of testing, some issues only pop up when a lot of people are using the system all at once.
It's like a stress test for the technology.
Exactly. And on top of the API errors, some users are also reporting inconsistencies with the voices. Like sometimes the volume might be off or the quality dips for no reason.
Yeah. That unpredictability can be a real problem,
That's
especially if you're using ElevenLabs for a professional project.
It's like you think you've found the perfect voice for your video or podcast, and then suddenly it changes in the middle of a sentence.
Ugh, I can see how that would be a nightmare. Now, to be fair to ElevenLabs, they are trying to address these problems. They've released a troubleshooting guide, and they're even offering free audio regenerations in some cases.
That's good to hear. It shows they're taking these complaints seriously.
Yeah, they are. And they're also working on some longer-term solutions, like they've introduced customizable API keys, which give users more control over permissions.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and they've also rolled out enhanced usage analytics to help users track their activity and spot potential problems.
Okay, so it sounds like they're making progress.
They are. But, even with these challenges, ElevenLabs still has a lot going for it. One of their biggest strengths is the sheer quality of their voices.
Oh, absolutely. They consistently get top marks in something called mean opinion scores, or MOS.
Right, MOS is basically a way to measure how natural and human-like a voice sounds.
It's kind of like rating a singer's performance on a scale of 1 to 10.
Exactly. And ElevenLabs consistently gets those high scores. Like, their voices are often indistinguishable from real human voices.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. It's like they've captured the essence of human voice and put it into their AI.
So what do you think makes their MOS scores so high?
Well, I think it's a few things. First, they're using some really advanced technology, like deep learning algorithms that can analyze huge amounts of voice data.
Ah, so they're not just capturing the words, but also the subtle nuances of how people speak.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like they've taught their AI to understand the emotion and the intention behind the words.
That's really cool. And I think another reason their voices are so good is that they're super careful about who they work with. Like they handpick voice actors to create those high quality recordings that they use to train their AI.
It's like casting the perfect voice for a movie role.
Exactly. And all that attention to detail, it really pays off. Their voices are not just realistic, but they're also engaging and expressive.
Yeah, they really draw you in. Now, on top of their voice quality, ElevenLabs is also multilingual. They offer voices in 32 languages, which is a huge deal for global businesses and creators.
32 languages. Wow. That's like having a team of voice actors from around the world at your fingertips.
It is. And it means you can create content that connects with audiences in their own language, breaking down those communication barriers.
Yeah, it's all about making content more accessible and inclusive. And that's a really powerful thing.
For sure. Now, speaking of features, ElevenLabs offers a whole bunch of tools to customize and control your audio. Like they have voice cloning timestamps, pitch, and speed control support for different audio formats. You name it.
Wow, it sounds like a really comprehensive package.
It is. It's designed to give users total creative freedom so you can fine-tune every aspect of your audio to match your vision.
So basically, you have a full-blown audio production studio at your disposal.
Pretty much. Now, all this sounds amazing, but I'm curious about the cost. Is ElevenLabs accessible to everyone? Or is it mainly for big companies with deep pockets?
That's a good question. And that's where things get a little tricky. They do offer a free version and a free trial. But finding their detailed pricing information, it's like going on a scavenger hunt.
It's like they're playing hide and seek with their prices.
Exactly. And that lack of transparency can be a real drawback, especially for people who are on a budget. They want to compare prices before making a decision.
Right. It's like going to a store where all the price tags are missing. You might be interested in the products, but you're hesitant to commit without knowing the cost.
Totally. And it's something ElevenLabs could definitely improve on to make things easier for users.
Now, before we talk about some free alternatives, I want to touch on one more area where ElevenLabs is making waves, and that's conversational AI.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about this. They've been developing these customizable AI agents that are pretty impressive.
Yeah, these agents are designed to have natural-sounding conversations with humans. And what's really cool is that you can personalize them.
Personalize them. How?
Well, you can adjust their voice, their tone, control how long their responses are, and even integrate custom knowledge bases.
So it's like having your own AI assistant, but you
Yeah.
can tailor it to your specific needs and preferences.
Exactly. It's like having a bespoke suit made just for you. It fits perfectly and reflects your unique style.
I like that analogy. So how do these agents compare to other conversational AI platforms out there, like the ones from Google or OpenAI?
Well, ElevenLabs is positioning these agents as a more tailored and flexible alternative to the big players. They're really emphasizing that personalization and customization aspect, giving you more control over how the AI behaves and responds.
So it's less one size fits all and more tailored to your specific use case.
Exactly. Now, while ElevenLabs offers a lot, it's not the only game in town. For those who are budget conscious or just want to try something different, there are some great free AI voice tools out there.
Oh, for sure. One of the most popular ones is Google Text-to-Speech. It's powered by Google's AI, and it's a really solid tool. It can convert both text and something called SML into natural-sounding speech.
SSML. That sounds technical. What exactly is it?
Yeah, it stands for Speech Synthesis Markup Language. It's basically a way to add more control and expressiveness to your synthesized speech. So you can use it to fine-tune things like pronunciation, emphasis, pauses, that kind of stuff.
So it's like adding stage directions for your AI voice actor, giving it cues on how to deliver the lines.
Exactly. And Google Text-to-Speech can handle both plain text and SSML, which gives you a lot of flexibility.
That's great. So it sounds like Google Text-to-Speech is pretty adaptable to different needs and skill levels.
It is. So what else makes it stand out?
Well, one of its key strengths is its versatility. You can use it to synthesize audio from plain text or SSML, and it lets you use device-specific profiles, so you can optimize the audio for different devices.
So whether someone's listening on their phone, their computer, or even a smart speaker, it'll always sound its best.
That's pretty cool. And what about voice options? Does Google Text-to-Speech offer a good variety?
Oh, yeah. They have a whole list of supported voices that you can choose from. And with Google's AI constantly improving, that list is only going to get bigger and better.
So it's like having a virtual casting agency for your audio projects.
Exactly. Now, I'm curious how Google Text-to-Speech compares to ElevenLabs in terms of features and usability. Does it offer a similar level of control and customization?
That's a great question. One thing that Google Text-to-Speech does really well is create dialogues with multiple speakers. so you can have a back and forth conversation between different AI voices.
Oh, that's cool. It's like directing a mini audio drama.
Exactly. And in terms of customization, you can definitely tweak things like the speaking rate, pitch, and volume, and you can choose from a variety of audio formats.
So it sounds pretty flexible and customizable, but what about ease of use? Does it require any coding knowledge?
It does require a Google Cloud Platform account and some basic Python programming knowledge.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a learning curve there.
There is. But Google does provide a ton of resources to help you get started. Like they have a really good documentation tutorials and a supportive community.
So it's not like they're throwing you into the deep end without any support.
Not at all. They want you to succeed.
Yeah.
So now the big question, how does Google Text-to-Speech actually stack up against ElevenLabs in real-world use?
Right. Let's get down to brass tacks.
Well, one thing that Google Text-to-Speech really excels at is its robust feature set and its wide range of applications.
Yes.
Plus, it's super budget-friendly with that pay-as-you-go model.
And remember, the first million characters you process each month are free.
Exactly. So if someone's looking for a reliable and affordable solution with a ton of features, Google Text-to-Speech is a really strong contender.
It definitely is. But remember, ElevenLabs really shines in the quality and human likeness of its voices.
Right. They've really cracked the code on creating synthetic voices that sound almost indistinguishable from real human speech.
So it's kind of a trade-off, Google text-to-speech for flexibility and affordability, ElevenLabs for that extra dose of realism.
It really comes down to what you prioritize in an AI voice tool.
You hit the nail on the head. So to help make that decision even clearer, let's break down the strengths and weaknesses of each platform, starting with ElevenLabs.
Sounds good. Let's dive in. What would you say are ElevenLabs' biggest strengths?
Well, like we've been talking about, their voice quality is top-notch. Those high mean opinion scores are a testament to how realistic and engaging their voices are.
It's like they've bottled up the essence of human speech and poured it into their AI.
And it's not just about sounding human, it's about conveying emotion, intention, all those subtle nuances that make a voice truly captivating.
Yeah, their voices really do have a way of drawing you in.
And another major strength is their multilingual support, offering voices in 32 languages. That's a game changer for global communication and content creation.
It really is. It's like having access to a United Nations of voice actors.
Exactly. And the quality of those multilingual voices is impressive too. They maintain their naturalness and expressiveness even in languages other than English.
It's clear they've put a lot of effort into making sure their multilingual voices are top-notch.
And speaking of effort, their feature set is another area where they really shine. They've got voice cloning timestamps, pitch and speed control support for various audio formats, you name it.
It's like they've thought of everything a user could possibly need.
They really have. And on top of all that, they provide amazing support with detailed documentation webinars, live online sessions, even in-person training.
Wow, that's impressive. It shows they're really committed to helping their users succeed.
They definitely are. Now, of course, no platform is perfect. So what would you say are ElevenLabs' weaknesses?
Well, we've already talked about their lack of pricing transparency. And that's a valid concern for a lot of potential users.
It's like they're playing a game of hide and seek with their pricing details, which can be frustrating.
Right. Especially for people who are budget conscious and need to know the costs up front.
It would be great if they could be more upfront about their pricing.
Agreed. Now let's shift gears and talk about Google Text-to-Speech. What are its strengths?
Well, one of its biggest strengths is its affordability. That generous free tier and the reasonable pay-as-you-go model make it a really accessible option for individuals, hobbyists, and small businesses.
It's like a free trial that never ends.
Yeah.
As long as you stay within the limits, you can use it for as long as you want.
And even if you do exceed the free tier, their pricing is very competitive.
Plus, they have a really robust feature set, including those multi-speaker dialogues, voice, and audio customization support for a wide range of languages.
Yeah, it's a really well-rounded platform.
And it's also incredibly user-friendly. Even if you're not a tech expert, you can easily navigate the interface and start creating.
It's like they've designed it with the user in mind, making it as intuitive and accessible as possible.
Exactly. And if you do run into any problems, they have fantastic documentation tutorials and a supportive community to help you out.
So it sounds like they've got all the bases covered.
Pretty much. Now, what about weaknesses? What are some areas where Google Text-to-Speech falls short?
Well, while their voices are definitely high quality, they don't quite match the level of realism and emotional depth that ElevenLabs offers.
Yeah, we've talked about those mean opinion scores, and ElevenLabs consistently outperforms Google Text-to-Speech in that area.
It's true. Their voices can sometimes sound a little robotic or lack those subtle inflections and emotional nuances that we hear in human speech.
So if you're looking for the absolute best in voice quality, ElevenLabs might be a better choice.
But if you're on a tighter budget or you don't need that ultra-realistic sound, Google Text-to-Speech is still an excellent option.
Exactly. It really depends on your specific needs and priorities.
And I think it's important to remember that both of these platforms are constantly evolving. New features are being added all the time, and the quality of the voices is only going to get better.
It's a really exciting time to be following the development of AI voice technology.
It is. And it's going to be fascinating to see how these platforms continue to evolve and shape the future of how we create and consume audio content.
Right.
Yeah, it really does feel like we're at a turning point. You know, how we interact with technology.
I agree. And we've got to remember that with all this power comes responsibility.
Oh, absolutely. Especially as AI gets more and more advanced, we need to be thinking about the ethical side of things.
Right. Like we've already touched on some of those concerns, like using AI voices to spread misinformation or creating deep fakes.
Yeah, that stuff's scary. It's like we're giving someone a powerful tool without any instructions or safety measures.
Exactly. We need some ground rules, some ethical guidelines and regulations to make sure this technology is used responsibly.
I couldn't agree more. And it's not just on the tech companies and developers to figure this out.
Right. It's got to be a conversation that involves policymakers, ethicists, the public, everyone.
It's a shared responsibility. We all need to work together to make sure AI benefits humanity.
Well said. So let's shift gears a bit and dive into some specific areas where ElevenLabs and Google Text-to-Speech really shine.
Okay, sounds good.
So ElevenLabs, with its focus on realism and emotion, it's a natural fit for creative industries, like audiobook narration and voice acting.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like having a virtual voice actor who can bring any character to life.
Imagine listening to an audiobook where the AI narrator can perfectly capture the author's style and the character's emotions.
It would be incredible. It would take the whole listening experience to a whole new level.
And it wouldn't stop at audiobooks. AI voice actors could revolutionize gaming and animation, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Think about video games and animated movies where the characters sound and feel so real.
The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing. And beyond entertainment, AI voices can also make a huge difference in accessibility.
Oh, right. Like for people with visual impairments who rely on screen readers.
Exactly. With AI, screen readers could become way more expressive and engaging, making the whole experience better.
It's about giving everyone equal access to information and technology.
And it's not just about accessibility, it's also about convenience.
Convenience. How?
Well, imagine being able to listen to your emails or news articles while you're on the go.
Oh, yeah, like while you're commuting or working out.
Exactly. AI voices can free us from our screens and let us multitask more effectively.
It's like having a personal assistant who reads to you whenever you want.
Now, while ElevenLabs is great for those creative applications, Google Text-to-Speech really shines in the business world.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, think about customer service. You could have AI-powered chatbots that answer questions and provide support 24/7.
That would be awesome. It would free up human agents to handle more complex issues.
And it could dramatically improve response times and customer satisfaction.
And it's not just customer service. AI voices can also personalize marketing messages, create interactive voice ads, generate custom product descriptions.
The possibilities are pretty endless.
It's all about using AI to create more engaging and personalized experiences for customers.
Exactly. Now, as we've seen, both ElevenLabs and Google Text-to-Speech have their own strengths and weaknesses.
Right. It all comes down to what you need, what your budget is, and what you prioritize.
It's like choosing the right tool for the job.
Exactly. You wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a screw.
So you got to assess your needs and then pick the tool that fits best.
Now, before we move on, I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier, those ethical considerations.
Right. It's something we can't ignore.
Exactly. One area where AI voices raise some red flags is the potential to blur the lines between what's real and what's fake.
Right. With these realistic synthetic voices, it's getting harder to tell if we're listening to a real person or an AI.
Yeah, and that raises questions about authenticity and trust. How can we be sure that what we're hearing is genuine?
It's a valid concern. And as AI voices get even more advanced, we need ways to verify the authenticity of audio content.
And we need to educate people about how AI voices can be manipulated.
Transparency is key.
Yeah.
We need to be upfront about when we're using AI voices so people aren't misled.
And it's not just about preventing malicious use, it's also about making sure AI voices are used ethically.
Right? Like we need to be mindful of potential bias in AI voice models.
Oh, yeah. If those models are trained on biased data, they could perpetuate those biases in their output.
It's like teaching an AI to speak with a certain accent or dialect. We need to make sure they're trained on diverse and representative data.
To avoid reinforcing harmful stereotypes.
Exactly. It's about using AI voices to promote fairness and inclusivity.
Okay, so let's switch gears again and talk about some practical tips and tricks for getting the most out of ElevenLabs and Google Text-to-Speech.
All right. Sounds good. Where do we start?
Well, with ElevenLabs, one of the best tips is to play around with different voices and settings.
It's like auditioning different actors for a role. You want to find the voice that best fits the character or the message.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to tweak the settings. Adjust the pitch, the speed, the emphasis.
To create a unique and engaging voice.
Another tip is to make sure your input text is high quality.
Right. Like garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. So make sure your text is clear, concise, and grammatically correct.
What about Google Text-to-Speech? Any tips for that platform?
Yeah, definitely. One of the most helpful tips is to take advantage of their SSML capabilities.
Right. SSML gives you more control over how the speech sounds.
Exactly. You can use it to adjust pronunciation, emphasis, pauses, all that good stuff.
So it's like fine-tuning the performance to make it sound more natural.
And another tip is to take advantage of Google's cloud-based infrastructure.
Which means?
It means you get seamless scalability and integration with other Google services.
So if you're already using Google Workspace or Google Cloud Platform, it's super easy to incorporate Google Text-to-Speech.
And don't forget about all the resources they have online. Tons of documentation, tutorials, and community forums.
So even if you're a beginner, you can get up and running pretty quickly.
Exactly. All right, so as we wrap up this section, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Go for it.
The world of AI voice technology is constantly changing. New advancements are happening all the time.
It's an exciting field to be a part of.
It really is. And we can expect even more incredible innovations in the years to come.
Who knows what the future holds? Maybe we'll have AI assistants that sound exactly like us, or AI-powered audiobooks that adapt to our reading preferences.
The possibilities are endless, and it's up to us to make sure this technology is used for good.
Well said.
We've been talking about this amazing world of AI voice technology.
Specifically, ElevenLabs and Google Text-to-Speech.
Yeah, it's been a really cool journey learning about all these tools.
Yeah, it really has. These tools are changing how we create and listen to audio.
And now it's time to wrap things up.
Right. Let's go over some key takeaways.
And then we'll finish with a call to action.
So first, ElevenLabs.
Yeah, ElevenLabs, they're doing some amazing stuff with AI voices.
Their voices are so realistic and expressive.
They've really mastered those deep learning algorithms, and they're super careful about how they train their voices.
And those high mean opinion scores, those really speak for themselves.
Yeah, they're proof that ElevenLabs is creating some of the most human-like voices out there.
Plus, they offer voices in 32 languages.
Wow, that's incredible. It opens up so many possibilities for global communication and content creation.
Right, it does. And then there's all those awesome features.
Right, like voice cloning and timestamps and pitch and speed control. You can really fine-tune everything.
It's like having a professional audio studio at your fingertips.
Exactly. But there is one thing that could be better.
Yeah, their pricing transparency.
Right. It's not always clear how much things cost, which can be frustrating for users.
Okay, so now let's talk about Google Text-to-Speech.
Google Text-to-Speech. It's another great option.
It's powered by Google's AI, so you know it's good.
And it's really affordable, especially with that generous free tier.
Plus, they have a pay-as-you-go model, so you only pay for what you use.
And it has a ton of features, too, like multi-speaker dialogues and voice customization. And it supports lots of languages.
And it's super easy to use, even for beginners.
They've done a great job of making the interface clean and intuitive.
But there is one area where Google Text-to-Speech falls a little short.
Yeah, the voices aren't quite as realistic as ElevenLabs.
Right. They can sound a bit robotic sometimes.
So if you're looking for the absolute best in voice quality, ElevenLabs is probably the better choice.
But if you're on a budget, or you need a tool that's easy to use, Google Text-to-Speech is a fantastic option.
It really depends on your specific needs and priorities.
Exactly. Now, before we sign off, I want to leave you with one last thought.
Oh, go ahead.
The world of AI voice technology, it's changing so quickly. New advancements are happening all the time.
It's such an exciting field to be a part of.
It really is. And as these voices get more realistic, we need to think about the ethical implications.
Right. We need to make sure this technology is used responsibly for the benefit of everyone.
It's a conversation we all need to be a part of.
So we can shape the future of AI in a positive way.
Well said. So that's our deep dive into 11 Labs in Google Text-to-Speech.
We hope you learned something new.
And we hope you'll join the Zana AI Talk community.
Yeah, subscribe to our channel, like this episode, and leave a comment.
We love hearing from you. Your feedback helps us make the show even better.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of AI.
I'll see you next time.